The Spanish Announce Table.
All right, Tom, it is episode 334 of the Spanish Announce Table, and this time, it's not about us, right?
Oh, man, I tell you what, we got one of the best pro wrestlers in the world. We are joined now by the blue-collar badass, JD Drake. JD, first off, thank you so much for taking the time to talk with us. And where we want to start is you're a part of this faction that's one of the best factions in all of AEW. It's called the Wingmen. So we want to start off with, how did that become a thing? Because it seems random, but it also seems like it makes 100% complete sense.
It's completely random and makes 100% complete sense. Look, life is weird, okay? It's weird. You come across friends sometimes that don't necessarily, meet the same look as you, the same culture, same anything. I met Cesar, I met Cesar actually back in February of 2020 when I went down to the Performance Center the first time. I went down for a week-long visit, and when I wrestled on NXT's House Loop, I met him there, and then ironically enough, I walk in the locker room, there he is. I'm like, oh, hello, dude. How are you? And then I meet Ryan Nemeth, and the first thing I think is, this guy's a goof. Ryan Nemeth is an absolute goof. Just a goof. I've yet to meet Peter at the time. So about my third trip down here, Tony comes up to me and says, hey, you ever met Ryan Nemeth? And I said, yes. He said, what do you think about him? I like him. He said, cool. Get to know him a little more. All right, then. So it just happened organically. I started hanging out with him. I hung out with Cesar, and then here we are. And then Peter came back, and when Peter came back, it all just started saying, and it clicked.
Yeah.
So that's the Wingmen. Yeah. Believe it or not, it wasn't anything out of left field, nothing crazy. We just hung out, had a good time, had good chemistry in the back when we was talking shit to each other, and it translated pretty well on camera.
That is awesome. It's one of my, funnest parts of watching the shows, be it Dark Elevation or Dynamite or whenever, it's the chemistry is there, right? You can feel, it's like you're saying, it's just kind of organic, and it just feels like you guys are having a lot of fun. Are you guys giving mostly free? Obviously you don't have to, tell me everything you do, but are you guys giving a lot of creativity and free roam to kind of explore that, as it feels like?
When have you guys ever known me to go off a script?
That's true. Okay. I like it.
I'll leave it there.
Okay, so then I got to know, because it was I saw it on Twitter, and it's the Vaxxed and Waxed Hot Boy Summer. So tell me what Vaxxed and Waxed Hot Boy Summer is.
Peter sends us a message and says, hey, check this out. There's a fan that created art for us. And I'd be damned if it wasn't that.
Yeah, okay.
Like, all right, then. I'm in. Whatever.
Right.
Mm-hmm. We were joking about it before promo, and the next thing I know, Peter's talking to one of his friends apparently, and Vaxxed and Waxed got brought up in conversation, and now we've got art.
It's so great. I literally laughed out loud at work. I was in a meeting and I was just going through Twitter, and I saw that, and they're like, Thomas, you okay? I'm like, totally nothing. So, yep, back to it. Totally good. So another thing I want to talk to you about in AEW is the list of your opponents right now is out of this world. You've faced Rocky Romero, Eddie Kingston. You had a TNT title match against Darby Allin. What has this been like? Because you haven't faced one style of opponent. It's just been across the board. What's that been like for you?
It's been just like my past 20 years of my career. Like, you guys saw me elsewhere.
Mm-hmm.
How many times have I stepped foot in the ring with somebody that works the same style as me?
That's true.
That is true.
There's not many of me left. So,
right.
I got to go out there and fight everybody. It's been fun. The closest to me has been Eddie, and me and Eddie have been beating the hell out of each other for a bit.
Oh my God. Yeah.
It's been a blessing, honestly, because I'm able to go out there and prove, hey, jack of all trades, whatever you need, here I am.
And Eddie is one of our favorites, first off, but
mine too.
speaking to what you were saying there, how is the struggle in that? If there's so many folks who, like you said, don't work your style. I mean, obviously these are tradesmen who know what they're doing, obviously, but I mean, there certainly has to have been some rough water sometimes in working with folks that don't work the style anymore.
No, not really.
No, nice.
No. If you really sit back and think about it, I fight.
Okay.
That's literally what I do. I fight.
Mm-hmm.
So my style basically it meshes with everybody's.
Yeah.
I can go in there and slap everybody around. I don't care how much you fly.
Right.
You can flip, flop, and fly, jump off the top rope, do a 630, land, whatever. When you stand up, I'm still going to chop the shit out of you.
Chop City.
It's so great, and and the believability of that is awesome too, and we love that. Like it's so you're the steady waters, as it were. Then
absolutely,
I like that.
So before we get more into AEW, I want to talk about how we first became aware of JD Drake, at least on the national scene. Obviously, we're here in Kansas City. We've seen you here at Journey Pro a couple different times with your tag team partner, Anthony Henry. But where I think the national audience got to see you is when you main evented that Evolve show. Now, obviously, during the pandemic, Evolve had to close its doors. But tell us a little bit about your time in Evolve, because you had so many amazing matches with Kushida and Walter and Austin Theory, but like, what was it like to be in Evolve when it was starting to really explode before the pandemic?
So, man, we were on such an uptick. It was really gaining steam.
Mm-hmm.
And it was one of those things where it was like, it basically came back from the dead. Like somebody put the defibrillator on it, hit it on the chest, it woke back up, and when we woke back up, we woke up with a fury. It was nonstop, great show after great show after great show, full of talent. Everybody delivered, from the guys that was coming in that everybody supposedly showed up to see, which I completely think is bullshit. People may have shown up that didn't normally come to an Evolve show to see some of the NXT and WWE guys. But you're not going to discredit anybody that was in my locker room in Evolve, because everybody there busted their ass and created one of the best wrestling products that was out there. And I'll stand by that from now until the end of time. But to watch that locker room come together after one common goal, and that's putting forth the best wrestling product that they could, it was fun to watch, considering that Anthony and I debuted, 3 years prior, and won the tag team championships in our first match.
Mm-hmm.
And literally I believe we were supposed to be a one and done or two and done.
Mm-hmm.
We were supposed to win them, drop them, done. I think that's how it was supposed to go. But, wrestling has its own mind sometimes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
We kind of stuck around a little bit, and the longer we stuck around, the better things went. And it just blew up, and it was without Evolve, I'm not where I'm at. That's just all there is. I'm 100% confident in saying that without Evolve Wrestling, JD Drake is not a household name.
So tell us a little bit then, because now you're in AEW, right? And AEW is now the hot new ticket in town, right? So what are the similarities to Evolve when you're talking about you guys were ramped back up and going full steam, and now you're in AEW? What's the similarities between like the locker rooms, the vibe that's going on?
So in my time here, and I mean, granted, I'm still day to day here. I mean, and I take every time that I get to come down here as one of the biggest blessings that I could have. But when I look at this locker room, I see exactly what I saw when I was there, when I was at Evolve. I see a locker room full of some of the most extremely talented guys on the planet, all coming together for one common goal, guys and girls, all coming together to provide the best professional wrestling possible and to give people an experience that they wouldn't get anywhere else. Because if you go to an AEW show, even if you watch an AEW show during the pandemic, the energy is still unreal.
Mm-hmm.
The in-ring product is very good. It's top notch, honestly, if you ask me. And I mean, my time here has just been, if I call it anything other than, a super positive blessing, I'd be lying.
It does have an amazing, like, just feel of that, what you're speaking to, where it feels like the energy is just on a hype level. Everybody wants to come out and look at us and look at the crazy things we can do. And it's one of the most entertaining things we've watched in a long time.
Yeah.
In wrestling. And now, as we've talked about, coronavirus happened. So many things changed just in wrestling specifically. And, you know, AEW did have the benefit of having some fans in attendance, being an outdoor venue and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
But walk us through maybe some of that, like this transition of suddenly nobody's there. And now we're maybe starting to slowly roll into people there. Obviously, I would assume you're excited about that. What are your thoughts on kind of this new fans are coming back?
Here's the thing about professional wrestling. As long as the cameras are on, somebody's there.
Okay. Perfect.
That's it.
Yeah.
My performance, I feed off the crowd. Okay. Mm-hmm. I love interacting with the crowd. You guys saw that when I was involved.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
See that every show I go to, I feed off of a live crowd. Every professional wrestler feeds off of it. But there comes a time where you have to perform for the people that are watching at home. Mm-hmm. And you've got to, it's almost one of those things where you have to be so unselfish that you go out there and you put your body on the line, even though you might not want to. You might not have the energy that you would have if they were in attendance, but they're taking the time out of their busy lives to try to escape like whatever struggles they're going through. And you've got to like take the mentality that you might be their escape that night. You might be the one match that they watch and they get completely and totally lost in. And if that helps you to put forth the same type of energy and the same type of performance you would if they were sitting front row, then, you know, that's what you've got to do. And that's been my mentality every time I step foot in the ring when there's no fans. Somebody's watching. Right. Somebody's taking the time to use the work I'm putting out, the effort I'm putting out to get away from whatever's bothering.
Yeah. Well, I know I appreciate it because like wrestling was one of the few things, as you said, especially early pandemic, that was still going live or, you know, still have new content that wasn't just, hey, let me watch old Netflix episodes or something, you know? So wrestling and that it's so intimate in a time where we were needing to space away too, just that performers would take that risk on too was it's a thing to be respected. That's for sure.
So JD, tell us now, it's 2021 this weekend, Double or Nothing. We got fans that are going to be coming back into attendance. It looks like you guys are going to be jumping back on the road as far as AEW. I know you're also going to be jumping into some other promotions like Limitless Wrestling and some other promotions like that. So what can we expect from the Blue Collar Badass as we kind of get into the midway point of 2021?
Well, what people are going to see is a new, more motivated, spite-driven blue-collar badass. I've got a lot of people to shut up and a lot of people to prove wrong. And it's about to get bad for a whole lot of people. I mean, just know this. I can fix the way I look. I can fix the way I work. I can fix everything that there is to fix about me, either aesthetically, work-wise, or whatever. You cannot fix stupid. You cannot fix dumb.
Yeah.
Period.
Mm-hmm.
Period.
Yeah. We keep trying. It just doesn't work.
Yeah, well, I keep trying too. And all it does is it causes my hands to hurt from hitting people. So,
right.
I mean, I'm not slowing down. I'm
okay.
not. Now, the bookings I'm going to take might be a little more scarce and might be a little more selective because I've thoroughly enjoyed the time that I have with my family. I thoroughly enjoy going out and having weekends free to be able to escape my life and go perform hobbies that I thoroughly enjoy. But when I step foot in the ring, just know I'm clocking into work.
All right.
And when you see the work boots on, you know somebody's about to get their ass whipped.
Somebody's getting some elbows and some teeth. I like this.
Yeah.
All right. So this is a fun part we like to do here then. We like to this helps us get a good view across the industry, right? We ask the same 5 questions of new guests, right? And we get to see kind of where folks are at, right? And some of these you've probably heard a million times and maybe give different answers to or whatnot. But these are, you don't have to answer them rapid fire or anything like that. Feel free to kind of expand on the answer and whatnot. But the first one is, who is your favorite wrestler of all time?
I have 2.
Okay, yeah, perfect.
Arn Anderson and the Great Muta.
Nice.
Arn Anderson and the Great Muta. That's my two.
Nice.
Man.
So I think we've heard Anderson before, but I don't think anybody's given us Great Muta. That's awesome. What about Great Muta really clued you in?
When I was a kid, watching him come out, face paint, spraying mist everywhere. First guy I saw do a moonsault. Yeah. And then the older I got, the more I watched him overseas in Japan and things like that. He's just, he's a wild character, man. And he can work with anybody. Mm-hmm. He's another one of those chameleons that can literally get in the ring with anybody on the planet and have a good match.
At any age, too. It seemed like, when he started towards the tail end of his career, he was still going with any and everyone.
132 years or
what
something.
What do you mean, till the tail end of his career? He just won the Noah Heavyweight Championship.
Well, I know, but what I'm saying is like, far as, that's what I'm saying, but like going international.
He's Tom Brady, Tom.
Yeah, exactly. All right.
Tom Brady wishes he was the Great Muta.
That might be the title of the show.
A lot of us probably, Tom Brady wishes he was the Great
That might be
Muta,
the title of the show.
Right.
All right, so the second question here is, and this you can answer it for yourself, and then you can also answer it as a fan, is what is your favorite match of all time? So again, you could say one that you've been in, or you could say one that you've seen, or a combination.
My favorite professional wrestling match that I've been in, or that I've seen.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. Man. Last match I had with Anthony Henry at PWX X16 this year.
I was at that Evolve show in Chicago when Anthony Henry turned on you when you were in the championship match. Dude, that was some great theater. God bless America. That was so fucking cool.
Man.
Not cool for you, but it was cool to watch as a fan. It was
cool to bring that up. I'm a guest on your show and you had to bring that up.
Hearing the levels change from the crowd being way up here to I really hope that all of your tires go flat at the same time. It's just like, yay!
Yeah, it was great.
Oh God!
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I hated him then. I hate him now too because he's so freaking good.
So, professional wrestlers are, especially when you've been in it, like you said, decades, and you've traveled. It's a journeyman's craft, and there's a lot of mentors along the way, and there's a lot of folks you get a lot of experience from. So who would you say might be your biggest influence in your career?
Well, my two trainers, David Reimer, who took me under my wing early in my wrestling career, and George South, who I claim as my trainer. The best hand you'll ever meet. Probably the best enhancement talent to ever step foot between two ropes. It's just his knowledge for professional wrestling is endless, and the love that he shows all of his kids, from Cedric to Big Swole to the Steamboats to the Flares to anybody he's laid his hands on, he loves.
Nice.
Good, bad, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if you suck in the ring. It doesn't matter if you're the best wrestler ever walked God's green earth. That man loves you. And he's going to spread positivity. He's going to be hard on you because he expects more of you. But
sounds like a true leader.
I really, really hope that I'm still wrestling at his age at the level he is.
Wow. That's impressive.
I like it. All right. So now let's get into question 4. Obviously, with pro wrestling, there's 1,000 different terms, right? It has its own language, pro wrestling does. So with all of the different phrases and terms, what is your favorite term in pro wrestling? All right. I hope that was the answer and not just directed at me. All right.
It got to the point where promoters were telling me and Anthony Henry, you only get one of these a show. So go back. Like let's see. Black Label Pro. Mm-hmm. Myself and Anthony Henry versus Violence is Forever the first time.
Uh-huh.
And there's a moment in the match where Kevin Koo comes into the ring and hits me, and I just stick a bird right in his face. Mm-hmm. And then out of frame comes Anthony Henry with the hardest form I've ever seen in my life. And when he hits him, it looks like Koo gets shot with a cannon out of frame.
Yeah.
It's one of the coolest spots I've ever seen.
I got to say that I am so happy that your favorite pro wrestling term was, because Tom and I have recently made this switch to YouTube, and we've been trying to get our long-term podcast listeners to make some of the jump over to the video podcast, and telling them that this is your favorite term is one of the coolest things ever because they have to come check out the video now.
Yeah, definitely.
To see what it is. So I love it. You're one of the best guests we've ever had.
Now you just get to put this in the damn, like in the emoji box.
I'm going to make that the thumbnail for the episode. I'm going to absolutely.
That's great.
I love it. This is great. Okay, so this is the fifth question. And maybe we're liars. It's not even really a question. This is more of a hypothetical situation. But it fits better to call it Cinco Preguntas, right? Branding. So this one we're going to pretend, right? So we're going to sit in a room, right? This is a hypothetical. We're all sitting in the room. We're booking you in your next big thing that's going to take you to the top, whether this is, you know what I mean, AEW winning the highest level you can get there or wherever your, dream top is, your next big feud against Tom here, you got to give us a storyline.
No.
You said not doing it? Just not doing it? Just not doing it?
Yeah. You think I'm wrestling anybody involved with Sharky? No.
Fair enough.
It's risky business.
Here's the storyline. All right. I show up. I slap Tom in the face. Sharky slides in the ring. I throw Tom out of the damn ring. I wrestle Sharky.
That's probably the best move you could make if you really want.
Well, that's the best move for me because I couldn't lock up with you, so it's better that he's doing it.
You got to take a slap and a toss. I think you can handle that.
Yeah, that's good for me.
This is fun, man. I appreciate it. So, we really appreciate your time. Sure you're a busy dude and you've got to get to what you got to get to, but I
got to get to this DoorDash I just ordered. My ass is hungry.
There you go.
Exactly. We don't want that to get cold. So, you got any plugs you want to throw out, folks, to follow you on the social medias and all that?
You find me on Facebook at James D. Drake, Twitter at Real JD Drake, Instagram at Real James Drake. I'm on TikTok, and you see a lot of softball videos on there.
Oh, dude, you crush it. Hey, by the way, real quick, what's the bat that you're using? What's the bat that you're using right now?
There's a bunch. I use a bunch.
What's the go-to, though? Is it that Easton one that you just posted?
No, that was a buddy of mine's bat.
Okay.
And he had just bought it for $100. He stole it from somebody, basically.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And we were hitting batting practice that night, and he was like, "Let's see what it's got in it." And we were hitting some fucking moonshots.
Yeah.
And it sounded like a cannon.
Yeah.
My bat of choice right now is either my original Easton Fire and Ice or what else have I got in the bag that I'm swinging? I've got a Worth Savage that I swing as well. Both of them 27 ounces.
Love it.
Favorite bat of all time is the original Easton Wegman, the black and purple Easton Wegman, the SY100W. If I could find that old thing, I'd sell all my new stuff.
I sense somebody's getting cracked with a softball bat someday on TV, Tom, and I'm excited for the I can't wait to see. No, I'm not going to marry the two. He said, no.
Sting is still around.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, you can't steal the gimmick.
If I walk out with a softball bat and Sting is in the locker room, do you know what's going to happen?
That's true. Maybe the soft ball. Maybe you crack
Then I got to throw overhanded, and I don't.
That's true. That's true. See, I'm full of bad ideas. Don't listen to me. You got it figured out.
Of course, you're full of bad ideas. Look at your damn podcast part.
Right here.
7 years, man. 7 years. All right. Hey, we appreciate your time. We'll let you get to your DoorDash, man. Can't thank you enough. Really appreciate it, man.
Hey, man, I'm glad that y'all had fun. Thank you very much for having me.
We're new to this. See, I was muted. As much as you might want to take this into a softball podcast, Tom, can't let you do it. But JD Drake was still fun nonetheless. This was a great interview.
I tell you what, though, if you are into softball, he does have some amazing videos where he just crushes the shit out of some softballs. It's pretty impressive. Also, if you're into bowling, I tell you what, he bowls probably 300 games, it seems like a week. He's always posting videos, sliding it around, getting strikes, blindfolded. It seems like he's amazing talent. Obviously, he can wrestle in the ring, he can bowl his ass off, and he can crush any softball that comes towards him. So, JD Drake, I tell you what, one of my favorite wrestlers right now. I told you how excited I was when he had that first match with Eddie Kingston on AEW Dark. Obviously, all of his work in Evolve. One of the best going right now. Can't believe all the success he's having. He's well-deserved, and excited to see what's next for him.
Super fun, and the realism that comes off on TV out of him in many ways, right? You can just, like, the fun character, the in-ring, I'll beat your ass portion of his character.
What he said in the interview when he said, I don't care about your 630 splash, I'm going to chop the shit out of you. Chop City. You know what I mean?
It does really feel, too, like the character is JD Drake, right? Like, I mean, this is who we had on the show, and this is who we see on the TV, and I'm here for it. I love it. And you know what else I'm here for is folks watching the live stream right now. We've got some folks in the chat. Hit us up on the chat there too. I don't know this name. Ericu, the Domo guy. I'm not sure. Been talking back and forth. Right. Said would like to see JD Drake go against Nick Aldis for the 10 pounds of gold, and NWA would be a decent fit over there too.
Oh, yeah. JD Drake is such a throwback to where he can fit in any promotion, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, picture him in NWA against Trevor Murdoch or Nick Aldis. Obviously in AEW, Eddie Kingston, John Moxley would be good matchups. You even take him over to WWE. He could, Lance Archer in AEW, Miro and JD Drake would be awesome. You take JD Drake in WWE, he could go have matches with Drew McIntyre. JD Drake and Sheamus, could you imagine how physical that fucking match would be?
Somebody might die.
I tell you what, and just JD Drake can fit any mold you want. And obviously, when we were talking about it, he's wrestling any kind of style. Mm-hmm. You know, he can wrestle Darby Allin, who just slingshots his body all across the ring, or he can go physical with an Eddie Kingston, or he can, have some fun in the Wingmen right now.
Wingmen is so fun.
It's one of the best groups going right now.
Yeah.
Hey, so let's get right into
the Wingmen and JD Drake is how I usually felt in like friend groups. I'd be like, all right, I mean, I guess I don't really feel like I fit in here, but all right, we're gonna do this. All right, cool. Let's go do this.
But it all makes sense. You know, they all walk out together and you're like, well, this doesn't really match. But then they start to...
We are pretty fucking cool. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but then they start hanging out and you're like, well, you know what? I think these guys are all friends. So yeah, I love the Wingmen. I like everything that they're doing. I like the new attire for JD Drake with that shirt that he's coming out with. Everything's looking great. Sharp. Yeah, he is looking sharp. Hey, but speaking of AEW, let's transition into this weekend. It's going to be on a Sunday, not a Saturday, because of the holiday weekend. Sunday night, we get Double or Nothing.
Double or Nothing. And yeah, so we're obviously, this is live for anybody watching live. It is Thursday night for anybody watching the recording back or listening to the podcast. So AEW Dynamite, which we have up behind us, is tomorrow. We haven't seen it yet. So this is interesting. We're going to do some predictions coming up for Double or Nothing. And we don't know the go-home show. So this is going to get wild. This is going to get fun.
Yeah, I think there's going to be obviously some loose ends tied up with this last go-home show for AEW Dynamite going into Double or Nothing, but we don't have the luxury of knowing that information, so let's get into some picks. Now, I'm going off of a Bleacher Report, a TNT property. Obviously, TNT is where you can find AEW Dynamite, so they work hand in hand together. Right. Well, the Turner as a whole.
Turner, right. Yeah. TNT does not necessarily own Bleacher Report, but Turner Media probably did, right, yeah.
They have a good working relationship, so I'm going to go based off of this card that is pretty reliable. So let's kick it off with the Casino Battle Royale. Okay?
Yeah.
We got 30 guys. I can read just a quick list of who we got in here. Griff Garrison, Brian Pillman Jr., 10, Stu Grayson, QT Marshall. Cutie's
winning everything.
Oh, my goodness. Lee Johnson, Dustin Rhodes, Max Caster, Matt Hardy, Powerhouse Hobbs, Evil Uno, Christian Cage, Jungle Boy, Colt Cabana. Some others there that are also listed, but then the wild card, the mystery entrant. So let's do it two ways here. First, Tim, I want to know, who do you think the mystery entrant is going to be? And then on top of that, I want you to pick who's going to win this match.
That's tough. I forgot about a wild card entrant, so I did not do any thinking about like who may be showing up. Nobody recently released that I'm aware of is able to like be on TV yet, are they?
There's one. I'll tell you who it is on my end, but you got to make your picks first.
So I'm just going to throw – oh, geez. I don't know. I'm going to say was – all right, so because I can't think of that right now, I'm gonna say, was Luchasaurus in the thing already?
Yeah, Luchasaurus,
Well,
I think,
this
is going to be in the.
sucks.
I'm a dinosaur.
So here's my winners. Like, let me talk through that right now, and then let you talk. All right. I'm torn between Christian Cage is winning this thing or Max Caster is winning this thing.
Ooh.
Right?
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
I don't think it's going to be Max Caster, though, because I think they're still going to stick with this tag team, and they're the Acclaimed, and they got the Hype Man, and something like this is generally for a singles run. So I'm going to say, I don't know. I think maybe they're falling off the Christian Cage bandwagon. So Jungle Boy wins. Yep.
All right. Jungle Boy. Now, who's your mystery entrant? Did you pick that yet?
Nope. So you're just going to have to go.
All right. So the guy that you're forgetting about that could be potentially arriving in AEW is currently down in AAA. It's one Andrade, who was just recently released. Now, Andrade already issued a challenge to Kenny Omega. They could be potentially doing a I go after your AAA championship, and then if I lose that or win that, then I go after your AEW championship.
Forbidden door.
Right,
Damn
another
it.
forbidden door. But
I think you scooped me.
here's the other thing. Keep in mind, with their mystery entrance, it's not typically a headliner, everyone breaking news.
I've got a new answer too. If your pick
go ahead.
Well, no, I mean, by all means, finish your
Oh, I was
sentence.
going to say, so for example, with this mystery entrant, they've had past people, for example, like Hangman Adam Page was one who was already in the company. So it wasn't this groundbreaking, oh my God, who was the mystery person? It was Hangman, right? Then it was Matt Sydal. Again, Matt Sydal, an amazing pro wrestler, but not someone to the level of like an Andrade who would be debuting in the company. So for that reason, here's the other curveball I'll send your way, Tim. What if the mystery entrant is Paul White? Who better to win a Battle Royal than the Giant?
That actually was going to be my pick. I was going to make that my pick because I didn't have a pick, and this person in the chat here suggested that. So thanks. Shout out the chat room. So we'll mark that as my official pick.
Okay.
And then Jungle Boy's going to win it because Jungle Boy's going to toss out Paul White. It's not happening, but I'm taking my victory lap now because I won't get to take it later.
So my mystery entrant, I'm gonna say, is Andrade. I think they want to tease the, hey, I'm in here, Kenny Omega, watch your back. Now, I think we might do something to where Thunder Rosa is an NWA talent, but having AEW matches with Andrade. So I think whoever may eliminate him, he might have a little program in AEW with. But I'm going safe money here. I think it logically makes sense that Christian Cage wins this. He is the outwork everyone. So how do you really enforce that? Have him beat everyone in a battle royal. So I'm going Christian Cage, and I'm going my mystery entrant is Andrade.
Nice. I think you scooped me on that one.
All right, so now let's go to the next match here. We've got, the alliteration on this one. It's going to be fun. We got Hangman Adam Page taking on Brian Cage in a rage match between two guys. You could have all different types of fun here, but Hangman Adam Page versus the Machine Brian Cage. Taz will be in Brian Cage's corner. Obviously, Brian Cage beat Hangman Adam Page on a past episode of Dynamite. So now, what do we think is going to happen here with Hangman and Brian Cage?
I think both stories are in stall mode, so this is an odd match here to pick because either way, I think they're both just going to kind of continue to hover around in stall mode. So I feel like Hangman gets the win.
I agree. So here's the reason why, though. It has nothing to do with Brian Cage. I think Brian Cage is going to do amazing things in AEW. I think he still has a very bright future, but this is the story of Hangman regaining his confidence to, again, I don't know when this day is coming, but I'm still holding out hope that we're going to get Hangman dethrones Kenny Omega to become the AEW World Heavyweight Champion. And so I think this is where we're going to get the rejuvenated, refocused Hangman. He avenges his loss to Brian Cage, then he gets back on the right track, becomes number one contender, and then down the line, whether that's sooner rather than later, I think he takes out Kenny Omega. So for that reason, I'm going Hangman Adam Page.
Good pick.
All right, as we keep moving on here, we've got a tag team matchup next. We've got Sting and his son Darby Allin taking on the most random tag team I can think of in AEW, Scorpio Sky and Ethan Page. Tim, this is going to be Sting's first match in front of a live crowd in some time. I think it's going to be 4 years. We don't fact check here, but I think 4 years. If you know in the chat, let us know, or hashtag tweet the table and let us know. But it's going to be Sting in front of a crowd, teaming with Darby Allin, taking on Scorpio Sky and Ethan Page. Tim, what do you got?
Yikes. Talk about stall mode also for for everybody involved. Sting wins. Nah, you know what? I think this might be the start of where we get the show off of Sting versus Darby. So I'm going to say Page and Scorpio Sky win. They get a heel out, slap each other on the ass. You know what I mean? Brag about that for a while. Get to talk about how they, you know what I mean? They beat Sting forever. And then Sting and Darby get that little bit of like, man, what the fuck? Why are you even here, dude? Like, and he's like, because of taking care of you. And he's like, nobody asked you.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Mm-hmm. So I'm going to go upset alert here as well. I'm going to go Scorpio Sky and Ethan Page, but I think it's because we're going to have a lot of fan-friendly results, I think, right? Hangman winning, I think, is a fan-friendly result. We'll get to a couple other picks here in just a moment, but we need something to offset that. And what I think will offset that is Darby Allin leaving Sting out to dry, saying, like you just said, I don't need you here. You're not someone that will help me get to the next level. I lost the title when you were in my corner. You know, he maybe goes down that route. And Sting will have to take the
Swinging
pinfall
that battle
loss.
a little slow these days. Pops.
Exactly. I think Sting is going to take a pinfall loss to Scorpio Sky because Scorpio Sky has been the one that's targeting Sting. And so I think Darby Allin, heel turn, and then eventually at the next pay-per-view, we're going to get Sting versus Darby Allin.
I like it. I'm down for that. What's next?
Well, I was going to say something real quick. In the chat, we have the Damo guy saying that he thinks Brian Cage will win, which definitely could happen. Mm-hmm. I think, going back to that match just for a quick moment, I think this is going to be the start of the separation between Brian Cage and Taz. I think this is when Brian Cage is like, I don't need you. I don't need this belt. You've never done anything for me. You threw in the towel when I lost to John Moxley. And I think we're going to go down that route. So
I don't know if I'd go down that route because, like, again, I think, we've talked about, we got stall mode Sting. We've got stall mode Hangman. We've got stall mode. I don't know what there is for Cage. We already kind of put him in this, like, oh, I'm challenging for the title belt. And that didn't really light the world on fire. And so I'm not 100% sure that, like, I would make a change if I don't have a plan to, like, fire.
Well, I think him and Powerhouse Hobbs would be a fun little program with Taz saying, like, you were never as good as you were with me kind of thing. So, but that's just a guess.
Now I have a real powerhouse.
Right,
You're
exactly.
just a machine,
Yeah, something to that effect.
What if I don't put gas in you? How about that? Punk? Whatever Taz would say.
Yeah, he would probably say something like that. All right, now let's get into the America First storyline, where it's the American Dream for one night only. Cody Rhodes with Arn Anderson in his corner, taking on Anthony Ogogo with the Factory in his corner.
QT Marshall, one of our biggest fans. QT Marshall.
And QT, obviously, we're always looking to get you onto the show, but, JD Drake was available, and we got to go with JD Drake. So
every week, I'm sorry, QT. I know,
we'll
like the last
QT.
4 weeks running, we say we're going to get you on. I know you're waiting on the line, and you'd really like to be on the show, and I'm sorry that you're not. We get it.
We'll get to you, though.
We get it. We see the DMs. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
We'll get there, man. We love you. And, you're going to do great in the corner of Anthony Ogogo, who I think we're giving Ogogo the dub.
Ooh. So, let me tell you my train of thought here. On one hand, Anthony Ogogo getting the victory over Cody, solidifies him as a mid-card to top talent. This is also a good reason because Cody's about to become a father for the first time. You can write him off of television by losing to Anthony Ogogo, and that all makes sense.
He got his large intestine burst open with a "How's your father?" from the silver medalist, right? Bronze medalist, Olympic bronze medalist, but still. Well, I know that's
only two guys were better than in the world.
Right. Well, and some of that's judging too, right? That's not even.
Yeah, exactly. Get out
of here.
So that's one hand, right? But then on the other hand, you look at Cody's track record in pay-per-view matches, and he lost to MJF. He lost the opportunity to challenge for the title because he lost to Chris Jericho.
He's the Dream.
And then tonight he's also the American Dream. I think
if the American Dream
Cody
is dead. Imagine if Anthony Ogogo gets to walk around saying the American Dream is dead, which, I mean, the American Dream is dead, but then like to infer that like the American Dream is dead also. And, the multi-layer insult that is in AEW is great.
Yeah, so I think, after talking this out, I think Cody Rhodes gets a roll-up, small package type of victory. 1, 2, 3, right? But we leave the match with Anthony Ogogo giving a "How's your father?" to Cody, but Cody had the victory. And then after Cody has his paternity leave, then comes back, and then we get round 2 of this.
Then we get
feud.
Quick Trip Marshall standing there, flexing in his bowling shirt, looking like a fucking like mob boss's kid, like our brother-in-law rather.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah, he looks like the
great.
understudy in a Sopranos episode. He really does. But yeah, so I think Cody Rhodes gets the victory, but I think we have Anthony Ogogo standing tall, and then when Cody Rhodes decides to come back after a potential paternity leave, that's when we'll get this feud reignited. Now let's move on to what I think is going to be match of the night. I'm picking this as match of the night. It is for the TNT Championship, Miro versus Lance Archer. Two psychopaths who are going to kill each other.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
Who couldn't love that, right? Who couldn't love two psychos trying to kill each other?
This is the epitome of big men slapping meat.
Oh, I love it.
And it's going to be also brutal. It's not just going to be like sumo wrestlers in the ring who know how to do a couple body slams and some belly drops. It's not like this is Otis versus, Mark Henry here. I mean, we are talking Mark Henry's a Hall of Famer, obviously, but you know what I mean? Like this is
We're talking some athletic big guys.
They're going to be athletic big guys, and they're going to like go outside the ring and they're going to throw each other through stuff. They're going to hit each other with stuff. They're going to like insult each other the entire time. And yes, you could come away feeling bad for having liked this.
And I won't, because I will definitely love this.
Yeah.
So here we go. We got the new TNT champion.
Everybody dies.
Miro.
Says the Domo guy.
Yes, everybody dies.
Everybody dies.
But I insist you die first. I love that line from Miro. That was so great. So here we go. We got the new TNT champion, Miro, taking on Lance Archer, who this is the second year in a row he's challenging for the TNT championship at a Double or Nothing. If you recall, last year was the debut of this championship where Lance Archer lost to Cody Rhodes with Mike Tyson as a special enforcer. So what happens on Sunday night?
Miro wins.
Yeah, but
too early. It's just too early.
I agree.
But I think you can come away with Archer looking, it still makes Archer look like he's going to kill everybody in his path, but yet.
Here's what I'll say.
Miro, maybe? I don't know. It's interesting.
We're doing picks, so I feel like you can't do a sit on the fence kind of pick. But what I hope is that neither guy wins. I'm hoping for a time limit draw or a double knockout or something to that effect.
Make a pick. Guaranteed. You're guaranteed to get a point. I mean, like if it happens, I'm not going to pick it.
Yeah. Okay. Then I am. I'm going to go a non-finish. I think it's a DQ.
I'm going to pick that too. No, I'm just kidding.
But I think it's a DQ because I think that we didn't necessarily rush this, but we kind of rushed this, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And so I think we still have some more story to tell. And I think this is just a normal match, right? I think the payoff is a last man standing or a cage match or something to that
down
effect.
The road. This is the start of it.
This is the start of it. Again, I think it's going to be match of the night, but I think we're going to get a time limit draw or a double
Neither
count
guy
out
can
or
stand
something.
up.
Right.
Right.
And then we're going to keep it going. So I'm going non-finish because Miro's not going to lose the championship this quick, but Lance Archer I don't think is going to look weak. So I'm going non-finish with a fun, brutal match. Now let's get into the AEW the AEW Women's World Championship match. Hikaru Shida taking on Dr. Britt Baker, DMD. And yeah, this is, I think, the easiest pick to make.
Yeah.
If Britt Baker does not win this in front of the crowd,
they're going to tear the place down.
They're going to riot.
It's the biggest heel move.
Yeah.
They could do all night. She's going to get the loudest pop of the night, I bet you, when she comes out.
Definitely. I mean, maybe not the loudest, but definitely one of them.
It's going to be noticeable.
Yes, I think we're going to see a new star born with Dr. Britt Baker. As I mentioned, you know, we haven't seen the Go Home show. We're going to do a 1-year celebration for Hikaru Shida before Double or Nothing. However, this whole story has just been Dr. Britt Baker's ascension or ascending to become the champion. And Shida's not done anything to really stop that momentum. So I don't think it stops here. And I think we get Dr. Britt Baker as our new women's champion.
Yes. DMD.
For TNT. I love it. All right, here we go. Now we've got another fun match as we move down the card. We've got the AEW Tag Team title match. Eddie Kingston and Jon Moxley taking on the Young Bucks.
I think they understand Moxley and Kingston are hot. I think they understand that. But I just think Young Bucks still come away with this and get a fucking be shitbag heels. You know what I mean? I think Young Bucks win.
Okay, then here we go. This is where the fun starts when we're watching on Sunday night. I'm going Eddie Kingston and Jon Moxley. And here's why. The Young Bucks are the champs, but they're heels.
Right.
In the shadows waiting is FTR. They have to be doing something after this Pinnacle versus the Inner Circle. So I think FTR also now being heels would be a good foe for Eddie Kingston and Jon Moxley. So I think for FTR to become the champions, they can't beat the heel Young Bucks. They've got to beat the babyface Eddie Kingston, Jon Moxley. So to get to that point, Sunday night, we have to have Eddie Kingston and Jon Moxley beat the Young Bucks. So
I think what you do is you still have Young Bucks win here, and the Young Bucks lose to somebody like a Varsity Blondes out of nowhere all of a sudden, and they're like, oh my God, we're the champs. And FTR comes out and they're like, bullshit, you're the champs? Match right now. This ain't fucking going down. And then like FTR give him the Rey Mysterio John Cena returns treatment.
No, I hope not. I hope not. But I think we have to have Jon Moxley with some gold, right? He's not going to be heavyweight champion, so I think we still need to put some gold on him. And Eddie Kingston.
Getting Eddie Kingston on TV, it's always easier.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, here's the tag team champ, right? So,
right.
Yeah.
It's an easier way to explain it. So I'm going for that reason, Jon Moxley, Eddie Kingston.
I feel like you're scooping me. Of course, I always feel like that. And
and then you win. I got it. All right, let's get into the gimmick match of the night. Now, I don't know how we're going to do this one. So it's the Stadium Stampede, Inner Circle versus the Pinnacle. If the Inner Circle loses, they must break up.
That's happening.
Here's the thing that I want to talk about, though, before we get into our pick, is last year we did this, and there was no fans. So it was fun to go into the Jags football stadium and just have your fun.
Right.
This is going to be the first event where hopefully the place is going to be sold out.
Yeah.
I don't know if you're going to spend 30 minutes saying, hey, crowd that just got here, watch the screen.
They did that with the damn Blood and Guts, they made him watch the whole show.
Well, but the
payoff was the match, right? This would be
right.
the other way around. Now, unless it's the last thing, so they probably just let them watch on screen and just like that's the end of the in-house pay-per-view for everybody.
Yeah. I mean, we haven't really talked about that. Do you think this will be the main event? Do you think this is the payoff?
If I'm formatting it, I'm probably doing that with that in mind. Like the live crowds, like they'll put up the thing, then they can choose to like watch it here or go home and fucking watch it. You know what I mean? Whatever they want.
Good idea. Yeah. All right. So you're
going. Or at least I
Pinnacle.
probably have polled people before I got there, but you know what I mean?
Yeah,
it's a little deeper into the business aspect of it. But I just think I don't think we're going to give the Pinnacle a loss here, even though they got the big win at Blood and Guts. So I just don't. I think we want to set the Pinnacle as the Pinnacle, and I don't know how much life more. What has the Inner Circle not done? So why wouldn't the Pinnacle do that if there's something the Inner Circle hasn't done? And
Yeah, I think the interesting story is going to be post Double or Nothing. What happens to the Inner Circle? And look, this is pro wrestling, right? How many times have we been told that someone, if they lose, has to retire? Mick Foley has to retire after losing to Triple H at Royal Rumble. Oh, hey, by the way, he's in the main event of WrestleMania. Like, nothing is forever in pro wrestling. So if the inner circle has to break up here, this time next year, they can call themselves something different. Maybe Sammy Guevara is not in the group, and we've got whatever the group is there, and we can get back to business. But I think, to your point, Inner Circle's done it all. And now this is the time where Santana and Ortiz can be the tag team that they are. Sammy Guevara can go
up
after
against Moxley and Kingston.
Right. Yes, exactly. Sammy Guevara can then say, I'm going after the TNT championship. And then you got Chris Jericho, who's just doing the fun matches, right? Let's just say Andrade is the one that comes into AEW. Andrade versus Chris Jericho. We could just do all that kind of fun stuff. And then on the flip side, the Pinnacle. What's more way to get MJF to a different level of heel than to say, I ended the Inner Circle? Like, that's just, he's already doing the pinky thing with the ring. Mm-hmm. This just adds to, hey, Chris Jericho, I ended your group. And just, boos out of, gets booed out of every
Inner Circle? Oh.
Yep. Yeah.
Sorry, buddy.
I think that's a tagline for MJF going forward, and I think that's what this match is going to be. Now, here's another quick question before we move into the last match of the night. You think this is going to be more or less entertaining for you than last year's Stadium Stampede?
I'm gonna say it's gonna feel like a sequel, So I just don't think we're gonna get the this is so crazy. I can't believe they did this and then this and this. And there's so many, they're going to, I bet you they come out of the gates making it entirely different.
Yes. I think last year it was fun to say, hey, we have football numbers. And since we're in a football stadium, isn't it kind of cool? This has a different vibe where this is, no, we hate each other. We're going to use every inch of this arena to kill each other, not to have a horse come in here or to be drinking milk and beer at a bar. We're here to fuck shit up.
They're going to find each other in locker rooms and be slamming each other's heads and things. I mean, they're going to get a little more intense, I think, less comedy. Mm-hmm. There may be some comic breaks because this is kind of a match that goes on for a while. So you may have your little lighten the mood to get to the next serious thing because you got to take viewers on a roller coaster, as it were. But other than that, I think this is going to be mostly like a drama, if you will. Yeah,
I don't think Ortiz is going to say I can't swim in this match, right? I think he's going to be a little bit more serious. I think we're going to have some fun where Jake Hager is on one side of the hallway, Wardlow is on the other side of the hallway. They match their eyes together and then go towards each other. I think we're going to get some stuff like that. But yeah, I'm going Pinnacle as well. I think Inner Circle breaks up. Again, nothing is forever. And so we're going to see some different aspects of Chris Jericho because he's babyface right now. Does a babyface run to get to the championship? We'll see if that happens. Now let's get to what is listed as the last match. Again, we do not know if this is the case, but it is the AEW World Championship match. It's a 3-way match. Orange Cassidy, Pac, and the champion Kenny Omega.
Omega wins this, but this is going to be a match I think we'll talk about. I think this will have some cool-ass spots. I think there's going to be some high-flying spots. I think we'll get some Don Callis. I think this one's going to be action-packed with some cool stuff, but Kenny Omega wins.
I got Kenny Omega retaining as well. He's the belt collector. He doesn't necessarily have all the belts yet. You know, he is the AAA champion. He's the Impact champion. He's the AEW champion. We got that forbidden door open with New Japan. Maybe he goes back to New Japan, grabs that championship. I think we still have some more story to tell with Kenny Omega. And with Pac and Orange Cassidy, as great as they are, and they are great. I love Pac. The bastard Pac is someone who speaks to my heart. We are one and the same. Orange Cassidy, the King of Sloth style, one of the most entertaining, odd wrestlers there is in all of pro wrestling. But they're not at the levels that they were, right? When Orange Cassidy was feuding with Chris Jericho, I think he was peaking more as a character than what he is right now. When Pac beat Kenny Omega in that Iron Man match here in Kansas City, that was him at a different level than where he is right now. So that's why I'm going Kenny Omega.
Yeah, definitely. There's no way we don't continue this Kenny Omega saga without him having the title, unless it was a short-lived getting it back, and this is what gets him until like we're ready to, you know, somebody gets their break, and now we're ready to start the actual feud, like you're saying, Hangman or whatever. You know what I mean? Like only if they had to stall could I see him like giving the belt up for a month to get it back from somebody. You know? But.
Right. And then the Young Bucks and the Good Brothers jump that guy to then get Kenny the belt back.
Yeah, like let's say, for instance, they were like, hey, it is Hangman, but we don't want to do it at this month. We want to do it in 2 months down the road because it'll be March or whatever the fucking, you know what I mean? And they're like,
right.
So, you know, to keep the storyline interesting, you're going to lose it to Pac. And then, you know what I mean? You'll feud with the Death Triangle for a little mini offshoot while we spin our wheels.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't hate that.
Yeah.
And I think, you know, there's a couple more people Kenny Omega can feud with before we get to Hangman. Whoever wins this Battle Royal, which potentially will be kicking off the night, you know, that could be someone.
Of Archer and Miro, in my eyes, would probably be like, you know, be like, fuck that. Who cared about the TNT title anyway? Yours. And then they're like, oh, shit. And then they got to get real creative with all the trickery, right?
Well, Miro said he's going after all the belts, so he might even retain the championship and say, guess what? I'm going after yours now, too.
Wouldn't it be funny if Miro just, like, I will out-collect your belts. Watch me. Like, put them up one by one. I don't need to win them. Don't put them all on the line. I'll do a match this week, and I'll take that one. And I'll do a match the next week, and I'll take that one. And then we'll do a match the next week, and I'll take that one. Like just,
and then when I have all of yours, you can challenge for mine, and I'm going to beat you and retain mine.
Right, yeah, just over and over and over. I mean, yeah.
So that is AEW Double or Nothing Sunday night, not Saturday as usual, because with the holiday weekend, you get Monday off, hopefully, and you can sleep in a little bit. But with that all being said, our picks going through one by one. Tim, I already told you my match of the night. I think it's going to be Miro versus Lance Archer. But what do you think? What do you think is going to stand out from Double or Nothing when we do this podcast next week?
The Casino Battle Royale will probably be a lot of highlights, but I'm along the lines that you know what, the Stadium Stampede might steal the show. We might be overlooking it. They might do something, so I'll call that to be different.
Yeah, I think the moment of the night, I think the match of the night is going to be Miro Lance Archer, but again, I don't think we're going to get a finish. But I think the moment of the night is going to be where we look back, you know, in a few months' time back at this pay-per-view. I think this is when Dr. Britt Baker became, like, as Jade Cargill says, that bitch. This is when Britt Baker's like, this is my division. Put it on my back. I can carry us to the next level. I'm the person that AEW can rely on. I think this is this pay-per-view for her. So I think that's where we're going to come back talking about those things.
Yeah, well, I'm excited for that. And AEW, again, we still haven't seen the go-home show, so all of what we've said might be, you know, thrown all out of whack. AEW loves to throw some curveballs. So
yeah, Dante, I think Dante Smith, again, we don't fact check here, but from Top Flight is taking on Miro. in a TNT championship match. AEW is so fucking weird. They could have Dante win the damn title, and it's Dante versus Lance Archer at Double or Nothing. Who knows?
Send us your picks at Table Show on Twitter. Use hashtag Tweet the Table throughout the week while you're watching wrestling. We might read them. We will read them right here on the show next week. I don't know if we got time this week with the interview and all that, but we save them. We'll save them up. We'll read the best ones. Now, also, check us out, SpanishAnnounceTable.net. You can find all the links, all you need there, all of our social medias, the YouTube. If you're only listening to this on podcast, shame on you. You didn't get to see the J.D. Drake interview. How fun was that? But we'll round it out with just some quick, discussion on the other guys. Tom, the WWE NXT side of things. There's been some big news.
Yeah, so this little, I guess it's not necessarily little, but this carousel of announcement table roulette. It was announced that Adnan Virk, the voice of Monday Night Raw for about a month, is no longer there. Then also on top of that, Jimmy Smith from Bellator fame will be taking over that role. And then on top of that, Tom Phillips has been let go. So a lot of moving and shaking
Tom
here.
Phillips right out of his job.
I tell you what, yeah.
I wonder if he's going to go Facebook the shit out of somebody when he gets home. It's a stress reliever from what he said before.
It is.
It's how he said he likes to, you know what I mean, relieve the long stress of the travel.
So let's get into the conversation here.
Yeah.
So Adnan Virk, I think we can both agree here, wasn't necessarily the greatest fit for Monday Night Raw or WWE.
I will never remember anything about Adnan Virk except Dave LaGreca ranting about him explaining what a zombie is about the zombies. Like, that's the only thing I'll ever remember about Adnan Virk, but it's probably one of the funnest memories I'll have about a WWE announcer. I will say that.
Yeah, and you know, if you pay attention to his other career moves, he has a great setup with Meadowlark Media, which is owned by Dan Le Batard and the former president of ESPN, John Skipper. He does a cinephile podcast where he recaps classic movies. He's a cinephile fanatic, as it is. So he's got some good things going on. He still has, I think, his baseball work that he can do. The thing that I think is interesting is, you know, he could do the play-by-play for baseball, so he had somewhat of that experience. Now, Jimmy Smith is going to be taking over that role, I believe, this coming Monday. Jimmy Smith, to the best of my knowledge, and I've followed him for a while, I was listening to all the Bellators he was calling for the 6 years I think he was there. He was always the color guy. So it was Sean Wheelock. Sean Wheelock was the play-by-play guy, and then Jimmy Smith, who is a former fighter, was the color guy saying, oh, in a heel hook, you need to turn the knee inward or whatever it is, right? The role he's going into is not that. The role he's going into is, welcome to Monday Night Raw. We've got a great night.
Play-by-play.
I don't think this is going to be a good
Which they don't even do play-by-play as play-by-play. They want them like, he'll be like, and then he whips into the corner and be like, you'll remember, you know, face fucking Tom Phillips, that, he attacked him last week from behind. And then, like, they want him to tell that story as opposed to, like, what's going on in the ring. So, yeah, that'll be an interesting transition. I've said this. They need to train folks in NXT and the PC and group them. Find folks that are, like, broadcasters that actually like wrestling, want to do this, because that's the only time you're going to get the real emotion out of it. It just kind of is what it is. You know, or somebody that wants to grow into it and wants to like it, but it just... if it's not their thing.
Yeah, and Jimmy Smith, he did the whole, hey, I was a fan when I was a kid. I liked Bruiser Brody and Mr. Perfect, which that was 30 years ago, so that doesn't really help you with Roman Reigns and the Usos.
That's what he said.
Yeah. And he also said, you know, in past tweets that were found on his Twitter profile, that he didn't watch wrestling. He watched it as a grade school kid, but he didn't watch it after that. So,
I love Haystacks Calhoun and
right. And again, you cannot like wrestling and still be successful. And Renee Young,
of course.
I think, was not a wrestling head.
Now, again, I think she got into it now. You know what I mean?
Right.
But
maybe
anyway.
Jimmy Smith does.
Maybe
Jimmy Smith does.
Maybe you can go down as one of the best.
I don't think
Tim
so.
and Tom.
He is no Tim and Tom. I don't think he's going to last. I think what may happen with him, because of his professional fighting background, is if he does not do well in this role. They might transition him to where someone beats him up and then he gets into the ring and does a one-off match and then goes into the sunset like that. That is where I think his ceiling is, but I don't think he's going to last long here. But who knows?
What
Could
about
be
Tom
wrong.
Phillips? You think we see him on Wrestling TV?
So that is the most interesting thing to me is Tom Phillips is good.
Tom Phillips
is really good. And if you paid attention to social media, there was a lot of co-signers. Mick Foley, Big E, Xavier Woods, a couple other people in WWE world was saying Tom Phillips is really great. So now, you and I have talked about, since we've been blue in the face about AEW, their biggest pain point
It's JR.
is JR.
Yeah.
And now you have Tom Phillips who can sit in that role.
And
what do you think?
And for the love of, like, I know, like, probably to get JR, he's probably like, I want to call. And, like, they're probably like, but let him do special events like WWE would do. I know that's not what he wants to hear, probably. But, like, look, man, the advisor role is a perfect fit for Jim Ross to sit in some meetings, to listen to things and be like, we tried that once and fucking shit the bed, that kind of stuff. I think it's great. But yes, Tom Phillips would be an intense upgrade. Now, the whole thing is Excalibur is often that main play-by-play guy.
What I think you could do is this is where if I had the pencil, where I made the decisions at AEW, this is what I would do with the announce team. I would take Jim Ross off. I would keep him in a talent relations or advisory role off screen, or having him come in and doing a blood and guts match or a stadium stampede match where it's these specialty matches. But my team on AEW Dynamite would be Tom Phillips and Excalibur. Tom Phillips would be hey, we're on this Friday at 9 o'clock. No. And this is why. Tony Schiavone is going to be with, remember, we've got another hour to fill on TBS. So I think you do the elevation team of Tony Schiavone and Paul White. I'm not firing him. I'm giving him more responsibility. I say elevation is Paul White and Tony Schiavone. Rampage is Tony Schiavone.
Rampage Jackson?
And no, not Rampage. And Taz. I would put Rampage as Tony Schiavone and Taz.
I
would put Elevation as Tony Schiavone and Paul White.
So you're going all two-man booth.
Yeah, two-man is the best because if you go back to the, golden era, Gorilla Monsoon was a babyface and then Bobby Heenan was the heel. You didn't have to have a third person where then one person is just neutral,
right?
Information.
Well, and it fits because either like the basic gist of a pro wrestling story is like either you're a shit person or you're a good guy, right? And so a shit person's gonna like the shit people and the shit moves they do, and right. Yeah. So the Domo guy over here on the chat, and shout out, chatters. We like the chatters. Says, what is Tom Phillips like unscripted? And I'm deducing what he means here, but is Tom Phillips as good as we think he is on his own? Was he fed lines that he just delivered well?
No, I think he is as good as we think because, it's notorious that when he was calling Monday Night Raw or when you get to the main roster of SmackDown or Raw, Vince McMahon is in your ear 24/7, which is true, I believe. But he also did great work in NXT, where I don't believe Triple H is in his ear 100% of the time saying,
I did like him in
NXT
NXT a lot. That's right.
Right. So I think he can do it well.
Speaking of NXT, the one thing that stuck out for me in NXT this week is this whole time I thought we were heading for a Grimes $1 Million Man as his manager showdown, and we got a little switcheroo, and it looks like LA Knight is going to get that $1 Million rub. I hear they're going to have this $1 Million title show back up. Maybe that's going to be on the line. I'm all in for this. This was fun. I love Cameron Grimes. This is great.
Cameron Grimes is as hilarious as he's ever been. $1 Million Man is a good nostalgia act that's not getting in the ring and doing the $1 Million Dream or any of those kind of moves.
Everybody loves the laugh. This is
perfect. Yep, and I think it's great how he's being used. Really excited for this. Now, also on NXT, we saw Karrion Kross defeat Finn Balor.
That's right.
So, my question to you, Tim, is this is the second defeat at the hands of Karrion Kross by Finn Balor. You say he's going.
I think it's a send-off.
Okay, so Finn Balor's going
northbound.
Fill in the blank, though. Where's he going?
Oh.
Where are we putting him?
Oh, is he a Raw or a SmackDown, huh? I bet they try SmackDown.
You know what I would do with him?
What?
Fuck the main roster. We're opening up the borders. The coronavirus is gone. We defeated that. Mission accomplished. I'm sending him to NXT UK.
Really?
Yes.
So that has
You're
no
saying-
television show. You know what I mean? Like it's network, but it's Peacock, but it's like,
You watching it?
I mean, I've
Like,
watched
you
it. I
watch-
like it.
I know, but like, there's fans of Finn Balor who, if he goes
Yeah.
over there, will
I'm not
watch it.
chasing Finn Balor to watch it specifically, but like I
Well,
do
we're
catch
not,
on,
but
on
there are
NXT
people
UK,
that
but
are.
it'll make NXT UK better. That's for sure. I wouldn't
'Cause-
hate it. I wouldn't
yeah,
hate
'cause-
it. I'm not pining for Finn Balor to show up. I'm not a person who's like, Finn Balor needs the world title. If he never wins it, I don't feel like he really got cheated out of it. You know what I mean? Like, he's not my cup of tea necessarily, but like, I don't hate it. I'm just like, yeah, he's good. So I don't necessarily like, I think he would add more for my personal taste over on a UK.
Well, I think for a couple reasons why I think it would be a good move. One, with the crowds coming back, they need tickets being sold as quick as possible. And you do an Ireland show with Finn Balor as your headliner, that's going to sell out in 2 minutes, right?
Becky
So
Lynch
we're
comes
getting, we're getting the whole Finn Balor experience in Ireland, which is must-see TV just for the crowd reactions. And then 2, Walter is the man over there, right? Walter is the king, end-all, be-all. Who's number 2?
True that.
So
Finn
that's
Balor.
why I think
That's what he
the
could be
best
like.
move.
Nobody can beat me. Like, and he'll be like, yeah, you're right. Nobody here can beat you until now. 'Cause I'm
Right.
here,
And that's
bitch.
where you get
Right.
some star
I'm here,
power
bitch.
to NXT UK.
That's what he'll say. All right. The main roster stuff, the only thing, I mean, it looks like Kofi Mania still kind of picking up steam. Maybe they're still seeing if that's going to stick. We'll see what happens when the live crowds happen. But a match of the year candidate emerged on Raw, in my eyes, in Matt Riddle versus Xavier Woods, of all things. Now, Xavier Woods, I've always like, even when his Consequences Creed, I've always like, man, that guy's, you know what I mean? Like, I've always had like an interest, but nothing's ever been, you know what I mean? Like, realized, I don't think. Like, so I think this was a coming out party for him to be like, yo, motherfuckers, I can go. Like, he put on a hell of a show.
Yeah, he's always been a very strong in-ring worker, but I think his best talent is on the mic, so that gets a little bit overlooked when he's doing the trombone and cutting the microphone or cutting the promos with holding the microphone the fun way as he does. But Matt Riddle is here where I thought this is where he shined. If Vince McMahon just didn't think that anyone who smoked weed is just a wacky, crazy guy, Matt Riddle is your champion. He can do it all. He can be funny. He can give you a hard-hitting match. His style translates to everyone. I think JD Drake versus Matt Riddle. You've seen that in Evolve.
Yeah.
See it on national TV. That would be great. Yeah. But again, Matt Riddle, I think, is just amazing. I'm one of the biggest fans of Matt Riddle for sure.
Well, I think that's all we've got here. I'll remind you all to go to SpanishDownsTable.net, hit all the links. One of the biggest ways you can support us is simply like watching this YouTube video, hitting the like button, sharing us. And I'm serious. If you just press play when you had to set your phone down for a while, like that helps us. That's watch time. So like if you're not buying merch, if you're not following us on the social media, that's a big help for us if you want to support us. And I think, Tom, maybe we'll just leave folks with JD Drake's favorite pro wrestling term.
The Spanish announce table.